Hello, boys and girls. It is me, your dear teacher, Miss Carlson. As you know. And I would like to read. I believe we are going into chapter 20. If I am correct, chapter 20, which is page, I gotta take off my glasses, which is page 133. And you know we're gonna go back a little bit, right? Figure out where we left off. So, let's see. All right. Oh, okay, I remember. She was asking Otis about what happened. Was he a criminal? Why did he go to jail? And so she says, and then what happened? And he says, I hit them. And then she said, you hit the police? And he says, one of them, I knocked him out, and then I went to jail, and they locked me up, and they wouldn't let me have my guitar. And when they finally let me out, they made me promise I wouldn't ever play my guitar in the street again. He looked up at me real quick and then back at his boots, and I don't. I only play it in here for the animals. Gertrude, the human Gertrude, she owns this shop, and she gave me this job when she read about me in the paper, and she said it's all right for me to play music for the animals. All right, so that's where we left off. Oh, no, it's not where we left off. There's another page in that chapter. I'm sorry. You play your music for me and Winn, Dixie, and Sweetie Pie, I said. Yeah, he agreed, but you ain't on the street. Thank you for telling me about it, Otis, I said. It's all right, he said. I don't mind. Sweetie Pie came in and I gave her a litmus lozenge and she spit it right out and she said that it tasted bad. She said it tasted like not having a dog. I swept the floor real slow that day. I wanted to keep Otis company. I didn't want him to be lonely. Sometimes it seemed like everybody in the world was lonely. I thought about my mama. Thinking about her was the same as the hole you keep on feeling with your tongue after you lose a tooth. Time after time, my mind kept going to that empty spot, the spot where it felt like she should be. Okay, so now we're on page 133, chapter 20. Okay, all right. When I told Gloria Dump about Otis and how he got arrested, she laughed so hard she had to grab hold of her false teeth so they wouldn't fall out of her mouth. Ooh-wee, she said when she was finally done laughing. That sure is some dangerous criminal. He's a lonely man, I told her. He just wants to play his music for somebody. Gloria wiped her eyes with the hem of her dress. I know it, sugar, she said, but sometimes things are so sad they gots to be funny. You know what else I said, still thinking about sad things? That girl I told you about, that pinch-faced one, Amanda? Well, her brother drowned last year. He was only 5 years old, the same age as Sweetie Pie Thomas. Gloria stopped smiling. She nodded her head. I remember hearing about that, she said. I remember hearing about a little drowned boy. That's why Amanda's so pinch-faced, I said. She misses her brother. Most likely, Gloria agreed. Do you think everybody misses somebody like I miss my mama? Said Gloria. She closed her eyes. I believe sometimes that the whole world has an aching heart. Boys and girls, I miss you. Right? I always tell my friends, and I've probably told some of you, I know I have, if any of you have ever had a parent go away on business, or you've had a parent that you don't live with, and you've come to me and we've talked about it, the way I tell you I think about it is that you can only miss someone if you love them. And there are some people in this world that they don't even have any love in their life. And so because they don't have any love, they can't even miss anyone. And so you only miss someone because you love them. And so it's such a gift. It's okay to miss someone, right? Because it just means you love them. It's okay, right? All right. I couldn't stand to think about sad things that couldn't be helped anymore. So I said, do you want to hear some more of Gone with the Wind? Yes, indeed, Gloria said. I've been looking forward to it all day. Let's see what Miss Scarlet's up to now. I opened up Gone with the Wind and I started to read, but the whole time I was thinking about Otis, worrying about him not being allowed to play his guitar for people. In the book, Scarlet was looking forward to going to a big barbecue where there was going to be music and food. That's how I got the idea. That's what we need to do, I said. I slammed the book shut. When Dixie's head shot up from underneath Gloria's chair, he looked around all nervous-like. Huh? Said Gloria Dump. Have a party, I told her. We need to have a party. We need to invite Miss Franny Block and the preacher and Otis can play his guitar for everybody, and Sweetie Pie can come. She listens to his music good. We who? Gloria asked. We, me and you. We can make some food and we can have the party right here in your yard. Said Gloria. We could make peanut butter sandwiches and cut them into triangles to make them look fancy. Lord, said Gloria, I don't know if the whole world likes peanut butter as much as me and this dog. Okay, then, I said, we could make egg salad sandwiches. Adults like those. You know how to make egg salad? No, ma'am, I said. I don't have a mama around to teach me things like that. But I bet you know. I bet you can teach me. Please, Gloria? Maybe, Gloria said, and she put her hand on Winn-Dixie's head. She smiled at me. I knew she was telling me yes. Thank you, I said. I went over and I hugged her and I squeezed her hard. Winn-Dixie wagged his tail and tried to get in between the two of us. He couldn't stand being left out of anything. It's going to be the best party ever, I told Gloria. You got to make one promise, though, Gloria said. All right, I said. You have got to invite the Dewberry Boys. Dunlap and Stevie, ain't going to be no party unless you invite them. I have to? Yes, said Gloria Dump. You promise me now. I promise, I said. I didn't like the idea, but I promised. I started inviting people right away. I asked the preacher first. Daddy? Opal? Daddy, me and Winn-Dixie and Gloria Dump, we're having a party. Well, said the preacher, that's nice. You go on and have a good time. Daddy, I'm telling you because you're invited. Oh, said the preacher. He rubbed his nose. I see. Can you come? He sighed. I don't see why not, he said. Miss Franny Block took the idea right away. A party, she said, and she clapped her hands together. Yes, ma'am, I told her. It will be kind of like the barbecue at 12 Oaks and Gone with the Wind. Only it's not going to be as many people, and we're not going to serve egg salad sandwiches. We're going to serve egg salad sandwiches instead of barbecue. That sounds lovely, said Miss Franny. And then she pointed at the back of the library and she whispered, Maybe you should invite Amanda, too. She probably won't want to come, I said. She doesn't like me very much. Ask her and see what she says, Miss Franny whispered. So I went to the back of the library and I asked Amanda Wilkinson in my best manners voice to please come to my party. She looked around all nervous and stuff. A party? She said. Yes, I said. I sure would like it if you could come. She stared at me with her mouth open. Okay, she said after a minute. I mean, yes, thank you. I'd love to. And just like I promised Gloria, I asked the Dewberry Boys. I ain't gonna go to no party at a witch's house, Stevie said. Dunlap knocked Stevie with his elbow. We'll come, he said. We will not, said Stevie. That witch might cook us up in her old big witch's pot. I don't care if you come or not, I told them. I'm just asking because I promised I would. We'll be there, said Dunlap, and he nodded at me and he smiled. Sweetie Pie was very excited when I invited her. What's the theme? She said. Well, there isn't one, I said. Always gots to have a theme, she told me. She stuck her knuckle in her mouth and she pulled it back out. It ain't a party without a theme. Is this dog coming? She asked. She wrapped her arms around Winn Dixie and she squeezed him so hard that his eyes almost popped out of his head. Yes, I told her. Good, she said. We could make that the theme. It can be a dog party. I'll think about it, I told her. The last person I asked was Otis. I told him all about the party and that he was invited and then he said, no, thank you. Why not? I asked. Well, I like parties, he said. Now, boys and girls, we know Otis is shy. And Otis might be, like, nervous, you know? He might have been through a lot, so he's nervous about friendships and about trusting people and about, he's just been through a lot. And so he's nervous and he's shy. Please, I begged Otis. Won't be a party unless you come. I'll give you a whole free week of sweeping and arranging and dusting. If you come to the party, that's what I'll do. A whole week for free? Otis said, looking up at me. Yes, sir, I told him. But I don't have to talk to people, right? No, sir, I said. You don't. But bring your guitar. Maybe you could play us some music? Maybe, said Otis. He looked down his boots again real quick, trying to hide his smile. Thank you, I told him. Thank you for deciding to come. Okay, we're going to read chapter 21. We started on page 133, chapter 20. We're on page 143. Okay, we're going to chapter 21. So everyone seems to be coming. Stevie seems to be the most reluctant or the one who does not want to go. But I think Dunlap will get him to come. And Dunlap's definitely going to go, right? So how many friends does she have coming? So she's got Gloria and Winn Dixie. Winn Dixie, of course. Preacher. Opal. We'll include her. Franny. Amanda. Stevie and Dunlap. So there'll be 8 people at the party. That's a pretty good sized party, right? Okay, you'll have to let me know if I counted right, if I counted all the main characters right. So we're on chapter 21. After I got Otis convinced to come, the rest of getting ready for the party was easy and fun. Me and Gloria decided to have the party at night when it would be cooler. And the afternoon before, we worked in Gloria's kitchen and we made egg salad sandwiches. We cut them up into triangles and we cut off the crusts and we put little toothpicks with frilly tops in them. When Dixie sat in the kitchen and looked up at us the whole time, he kept on wagging his tail. Want to see my audience? 3 out of the 4. Look, they're listening to me read. They're listening to me read. Hi, Chloe, it's okay. Hope you see my feet. Yeah. They like to listen to me read. Okay, so Winn Dixie was just like that, right near the girls making egg salad sandwiches. That dog thinks we're making these sandwiches for him, said Gloria dumb when Dixie showed Gloria all his teeth. These ain't for you, she told him. But when she thought I wasn't looking, she gave Winn Dixie an egg salad sandwich without the toothpick. We also made punch. We mixed together orange juice and grapefruit juice and soda in a big bowl. Gloria called it dump punch, and she said she was world famous for it. But I had never heard of it before. The last thing we did was decorate the yard all up. I strung pink and orange and yellow crepe paper in the trees to make it look fancy. We also filled up paper bags with sand and put candles in them. And right before it was time for the party to start, I went around and I lit all the candles. It turned Gloria Dump's yard into a fairyland. Said Gloria Dump, looking all around. Even somebody with bad eyes can tell this looks good. It did look pretty. It looked so pretty that it made my heart feel funny, all swollen and full, and I wished desperately that I knew where my mama was so she could come to the party too. Miss Franny Block was the first person to arrive. She was wearing a pretty green dress that was all shiny and shimmery. And she had on high-heeled shoes that made her wobble back and forth when she walked. Even when she was standing still, she kind of swayed like she was standing on a boat. She was carrying a big glass bowl full of litmus lozenges. I brought a little after-dinner treat, she said, handing the bowl to me. Thank you, I said. I put the bowl on the table next to the egg salad sandwiches and the punch. Then I introduced Miss Franny to Gloria, and they shook hands and said polite things to each other. And then Sweetie Pie's mother came by with Sweetie Pie. Sweetie Pie had a whole handful of pictures of dogs that she had cut out of magazines. It's to help you with your theme, she said. You can use them to decorate. I brung tape, too. And she started going around taping the pictures of the dogs to the trees and the chairs and the table. She ain't talked about nothing but this party all day long, said her mother. Can you walk her home when it's over? I promised that I would, and then I introduced Sweetie Pie to Miss Franny and to Gloria. And right after that, the preacher showed up. He was wearing a coat and a tie, and he looked real serious. He shook Gloria Dump's hand and Miss Franny Block's hand, and he said how pleased he was to meet them both and how he had heard nothing but good things about them. He patted Sweetie Pie on the head, and he said it was good to see her outside of church. And the whole time Winn Dixie was standing right in the middle of everybody, wagging his tail so hard I thought for sure he'd knock over Miss Franny with those high heels. Amanda Wilkinson came, and she had her blonde hair all curled up, and she looked shy, but not as mean as usual. And I stood real close to her, and I introduced her to Gloria Dump. I was surprised at how I was glad to see Amanda, and I wanted to tell her I knew about Carson. I wanted to tell her I understood about losing people, but I didn't say anything. I was just extra nice. We were all standing around smiling at one another and acting kind of nervous when a real screechy voice said, Gertrude is a pretty bird. Winn Dixie's ears went straight up on his head, and he barked once and he looked around. I looked too, but I didn't see Gertrude or Otis. I'll be right back, I said to everybody. Me and Winn Dixie went running around to the front of the house, and sure enough, standing there on the sidewalk was Otis. He had his guitar on his back and Gertrude on his shoulder. In his hands, he had the biggest jar of pickles I had ever seen in my life. Otis, I said to him, come on around back. That's where the party is. Oh, he said, but he didn't move. He just stood there, holding on to his jar of pickles. Dog! Screeched Gertrude. She flew off of Otis's shoulder and landed on Winn Dixie's head. It's all right, I told him. It's all right, Otis. It's just a few people, hardly any at all. Oh, Otis said again. He looked around like he was lost. Then he held up the jar of pickles. I brought pickles, he said. I saw them, I said. It's just exactly what we needed. They'll go perfect with the egg salad sandwiches. I talked to him real soft and gentle and real low, like he was a wild animal and I was trying to get him to take food out of my hand. He took one tiny step forward. Come on, I whispered. I started walking and Winn Dixie followed me, and then I turned around and I saw Otis was following me too. Wow, the story's all coming together, isn't it? All of those friends getting together for a nice party. I'm making some predictions in my head, and I'm thinking about how everyone's going to really get along and how Winn Dixie really brought them all together and how they all need each other. You know, their friendship is going to really matter to each other. Those are all of my predictions. So we're going to have to see what happens Next chapter will be chapter 22 next time, my friends. Make sure you tune in. Mwah! I love you all. Big virtual hug, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.